Welcome to my second video. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm Rachel, a cleric of witches. Today we're going to be talking about leaving a group and why it's completely okay to leave a group. It's okay. 100% okay, and everybody who needs to leave a group needs to understand, leave the group. If you're being sexualized, threatened, or in any way feel uncomfortable in a group where it's starting to become a problem in your real life, leave that group. It is okay. I've had to leave tons of groups. The groups I had to leave were for plenty of different reasons, but mainly the last group I left was due to extreme racism. Playing Merry Middle Cobblestamp, I had to leave my first group due to a DM that I didn't vibe with. But that's just a normal leaving a group situation. He kind of picked on me a little bit, being the only player there who was playing a female character. Merry Middle Cobblestamp has a soft southern drawl, and she is just the sweetest little forest gnome who, dear Lord, does not want death or violence of any type. Well, unfortunately, the DM wanted a very Call of Duty and Type D game. We played different games. I left. But it was still terribly traumatizing. I was in a very low point in my life, and leaving something that I needed like that became a new trauma. Later that year, life got worse. I found another game, Merry Mill Cobblestamp. I was able to play her even later in life. The DM brought me in a great way. Trapped in a church, Merry Mill Cobblestamp daily used her clerical abilities to keep everyone alive while the zombies bashed at the door. Eventually the church was freed, the new party. So we played about 6, 7, I think 8 games, but about 2 games into it, 2 of the players started making racist comments and really threatening at me. I being Jewish and Latino, one of the other players being Latino, also actually Chicano. Nobody else seemed to be threatened by it but me. I talked to the DM about it. The DM said, what am I going to do? It's their house. So I played another game, terribly eaten up inside, more racist comments in character. Finally, I sent the DM a message saying, you know what, I'm going to have to leave. And I got ghosted. Nothing happened. Not one other player in the game reached out and said, oh my God, I'm so sorry that these 2 really rude, extremely aggressive players were racist and were making threatening comments to you in our game at our house. Nope. Nothing. So I left. I moved on. It took me so long to find another group. Now, as a DM, the thing I want to talk about also in this video is as a DM where we need to roll the initiative ourselves. Nat 20 that shit and boot a fucking bad player from your game. If it's threatening you or being rude to you as a DM, or if it's sexualizing your characters or making one of your other characters feel bad in any way, shape, or form, you need to roll the initiative and step up and communicate with the player and say, hey, look, this is not how I run the game. I will check somebody in a game, as I have, and be like, no, excuse me, I am the DM. You need to be quiet for a second. Player 2, what were you saying? Some of the softer spoken people will get talked over, and DMs, you need to stand up for your players. If you have a player who is rude time and time again, and you've reached out and they are still rude, boot them. Don't keep giving them chances. Boot them. Boot them after the first chance, because they will do it 3rd, 4th, 5th time. In anything in life, That's how it works. And we need to understand as a community, it is okay for us to stand up for others. If people are having problems with gender dysphoria in your games and other players are sexualizing their characters or threatening their characters, the homophobia and the transphobia in this community, especially by these cis Caucasian male gatekeepers, is astronomically fucking disgusting, and it needs to be stopped. But it's not going to be stopped until we talk about it, till we bring it up. How many more streams do we need of white guys who all know every single rule? We get it. But what we need out there is more streams of players who don't know, who are scared to play, and who still want the ability to play Dungeons and Dragons safely and have fun. Once again, when you leave a group, it is okay. It could become a new trauma, and it almost does. It could feel like a sense of loss, almost like you're losing a family member, as some of these characters we have put years into. Our hearts. More than our hearts. Our imaginations. The creative abilities that we have fostered to play these great warriors that walk into battle. Well, when we have to walk from a game, what's the difference from burning your sheet? Your character has died in essence. And if you're dealing with real life traumas, always reach out, of course, just on a life point. But if you're dealing with real life traumas and you're stepping out into Dungeons and Dragons and that becomes a new trauma, leave. If you see it becoming a new trauma, DMs, please stand up for your quieter players. Stand up for your players who are dealing with their queer identities, and let them explore that. I am Rachel. I am only recently out. I am not on HRT. I am terrified of this. This panics me. But nobody that I know of is talking about these issues. And we all as a community need to understand that we can't tolerate this shit anymore. You need to understand it's okay. You're okay. Everything you feel is okay. Your identity is your identity. Fuck what anybody else says about it. Be you. And when you're playing a PC, feel that you can be you in that PC regardless of what it is. I love this game so much, and I thank you all for stopping by. Have a good night. May your dice roll fair.